I said this in my one of my previous videos when I was reviewing the Bleach live action, and like I promised in that last video, I was going to review all four Bleach movies. Of course, Obsessional being best, Adequate being average, and Obsolete being bad and terrible, and don't look at it or do look at it or whatever. But I personally, I just don't think it's good enough to look at. Pretty much, that's what Obsolete is. Okay, for start, I'm gonna rate them. I'm gonna start from the best to the least, and I'm gonna have to say the best one in general from my first best one from my favorite one from all of them would have to be Memories of Nobody. In general, that movie is like just stunning to look at. It's visually great. It has this this full motion picture feel to it. It feels like a really extended, more well drawn, more well animated episode of Bleach, which can actually look like it could be convincing enough to be part of the series, its canon series in general. Um, the score was great. I pretty much liked every set piece, every song from the movie. Everyone was pretty much pleasing and pleasant, and it really did fit with the mood and tone of the series. Although I do have to digress with visuals and animation. In some areas, some characters look like really sloppily drawn or not completely drawn sometimes, but for the most part, animation is pretty decent. It's pretty good to look at. It's not like so bad and shifty like a Scanner Darkly, which is not a bad movie. That's good, but sometimes a Scanner Darkly, you just look at it and keep looking at it and looking at it and looking at it and looking at it. It just sometimes become really hard to look at sometimes. That's literally the only thing I have to say. But for the most part, the visuals were pretty good. Although it could some drawings, certain illustrations, and certain scenes could have been better. Uh, I in general actually really like Senna. She was a really cheerful and pleasant and ebullient, and overall just a really heartwarming character just to know and be around. I felt like over time, I actually did feel like Ichigo and Senna, actually had a promising chemistry and whatnot. Of course, the villains are just as generic as you can get, but then again, they're not really the driving force of the series. It's really more so about Senna and Ichigo and their relationship and their trials and whatnot. That's more so the driving force of them is those two characters in Senna. And general, of course, I like Ichigo. Yeah, I know, unpopular opinion. And I like Senna, and I pretty much like their dynamic together. And just seeing those two, just here and there, hang out, explore things, open up more to each other. It was just really pleasant to get to look at and whatnot. The score was great. It was a pretty good standard movie in terms of storytelling. It was really story driven. I kind of like the concept of the valley of screens and the blanks. The memories, get twisted up and bended and thrown about in the Dongai tunnel and whatnot. I really did like the expansion to the lore of Bleach. It was really interesting, wherever if it's canon or not. I always hear different debates wherever it is and wherever it's not. But I just felt like it was pretty interesting. It felt really dark fantasy. The concept it really did fit the criteria, the theme and the concept of a dark fantasy. So I did like the concept of the blanks and the Dongai Prespers pretty much distort memories and throwing them outwards. It was pretty good. Pretty much everyone in the movie had their day in the sun and whatnot. It was just good to all see them together, again here and there, because the Soul Society arc was great, and pretty much I like every character in the Soul Society, excluding of course Yumi Chika and Kenpachi. I personally just do not care for those characters, and Mayuri. Those characters just don't appeal to me at all. But pretty much, I'm solid with everyone, and it's good to just pretty much see them, go all at it in that movie. You know, like they're all indebted again, and now always seen as side characters. Although Kira and Ikaku may seem like they didn't do much, it was still good to see them included into something and still do their part in defeating the main villain. Name I forget. That's how forgettable he is. Because again, he's not really the driving force of the series. It's Senna and Ichigo's dynamic. But then again, it was just good to see all of them together. Still doing something and whatnot. Uh, it kept me entertained enough, which was pretty good. And I feel like it was really story driven, and I feel like the story and dynamic of the two characters really kept me attached and glued to the movie. Uh, I feel like it had enough action for it to entertain a viewer, and it had enough story to also keep the viewer satisfied and interested. So yeah, I'm giving Memories of Nobody an exceptional, and in general, that's actually probably one of my favorite anime movies of all time. It's literally right up there with Garu and the legendary Super Saiyan and Wrath of the Dragon, Spirited Away, Wolf Princess. Yeah, I got them for days. Colorful, it's pretty good. It's literally up there with them. Uh, I got so much on my plate. Hal, it's more or less in general. All those are my favorite anime movies, and Memories of No One is definitely sits on that plateau of sort of my favorite anime movies. And then we move on to the second one, Hellverse, which actually seems to be everyone's favorite. Uh, in general, actually, I like all the movies now. Let me make that clear. I liked all the films; they were all pretty good. Hellverse was pretty good. Animation was great. The score was great. Hell to Cometh and all that. Actually, the overall score for that was pretty memorable. It was pretty good. It's not like Memories of Nobodies, which is more soothing and calming and fit more of the mood and tone of the movie. It was good, but it just wasn't up there with Memories of Nobody. It was great. I just felt like Memories of Nobody still beats Fade to Black by score. But although not Fade to Black, shit, Hellverse, Hellverse in general more so focused on the focus more so on the action concept of Bleach, the more battle anime shonen concept of Bleach. While its counterpart, Memories of Nobody, was more story driven and mystery. Hellverse was more action driven. Kokuto is probably just as worse as the main antagonist for Memories of Nobody. And in general, I just found him as just a really boring villain. And that's saying much compared to Memories of Nobody. And they try to put a sense of pathos. They want you to pity, to have pathos for Kokuto, but it's kind of hard to, considering once you figure out what happens, Kokuto kind of did all that to himself. Like, apparently, how he got to hell. It was. And Kokuto in general was just a really unappealing villain. And I think that's pretty much why it's literally under Memories of Nobody. It's just, in general, he's just not a appealing enough villain, and it's hard to pity him considering the whole problem in the movie, the whole dilemma in the movie was on his head. He did it to himself, so it's kind of hard to pity him. His sister got killed by two murderers. He found them, he made them suffer, he killed them, and he pretty much lost his marbles and killed a lot of people. And he died and went to hell, and he was chained to hell, and he didn't want to be chained to hell because hell sucked. And despite just wanting to leave hell, he just get into his bitch fit mode where he's like, I want everyone to feel the same pain as I have in hell. And like, it was just a big turn off. Like, there's no sense of remorse or pity or pathos I can have for Kokuto, because in general he's just in himself just a really boringly written villain. But himself is hypocrite, a contradiction, and in general, he's just so flick off that does he? It's he's so flick off. He's a flick off villain, even more flick off than Memories of Nobody, because he's so unredeemable and god damn, I actually really don't like Kokuto, as y'all can clearly see me rambling, but more or less, I think the main reason why Hellverse would be literally under Memories of Nobody, because Kokuto himself is just a really character that I can really not give two shits about. I mean, in general, if you were if you were to compare Driving Force characters like Senna, Driving Force from Memories of Nobody, to Kokuto, I would definitely uphold Senna all the way. I mean, there's just actually there's substance to uh, Senna. I mean, yeah, she's your typical I don't remember, my past and whatnot character, but there's still more to put into that character. Like she's actually established. She's just not generic villain number one that main characters has to beat to save the world. And they have this really bullshit plot form for you to have pity and understand them. But in general, it's just hard to because Kokuto himself is just doesn't have my pity. He does. He just in general is just not a appealing villain. Uh, I like the concept of hell, how they did in Bleach. It was pretty good. And honestly, I really actually saw Kokuto's betrayal from like a mile away before they took out the purple hair guy with the fire, who I'm guessing is supposed to be the devil, and that's pretty much about it. Hellverse was a good action film. It wasn't as story driven as Memories of Nobody, but that's fine because Bleach is an action anime. But sometimes I do just want to settle down and and hear a good story, which being Memories of Nobody. Hellverse, good action anime, good action movie, anime movie, good action Bleach movie. But only setback is Kokuto because he's an unredeemable character, and I can care less about his agendas or him as a person or and whatnot. So yeah, Hellverse is adequate. It could have been good. It's just I wish Kokuto in general just had more substance to him. I wish he was just written better. I wish I actually can give a fuck about him, but the whole time he's a cunt himself. He's a cuck. He's a prick. He's really no more. He literally has no more salts than the people that he's in hell with, and that's why I can't just give a shit about him because he's just generic villain number one on top of being the main driving force of the movie. So I don't care for Kokuto. He's a dumb fucker, and I don't give a fuck about him and whatnot. Uh, damn. Okay, I probably already mentioned it because I got the fucking titles mixed up. But the next movie we got is Bleach Fade to Black. I liked number one, of course. Number one reason why I like the movie. I like the fact that it's mostly focused on Rukia. And yes, I already know what y'all saying. She's just another buddy character to Ichigo, and that's pretty much one of the reasons why people always shade Bleach. Yet again, that argument could be shared with different anime, but that's besides the point. I know people might think, from what I just said, I like Rukia and I like the fact that she pretty much has her own movie. Well, okay, I still like Rukia. I don't care if she's a buddy character to Ichigo, buddy anime character number one. I don't care. I still like Rukia. And I like the fact she has her own movie. I like the fact that it's surrounded about her. So that's one reason why I like the. That's one reason that I've liked Fate to Black. And I like the fact that in this time around, the villain is not just I'm evil for the sake of being evil. Well, no, it actually had reasons for being bad. Let me take that back. But I like the fact that the so-called villains in this one, they actually have substance and they're just not bad and have a really flaky background story of why we should care. Like it's actually really tear jerking, and I actually felt pity for him and whatnot. Apparently, these two spirits were killed by some Soul Reaper that Rukia took care of in the Rikongai district, and I guess they came back as hollows, or I'm a little skeptical on it. I only remember it in pieces. I mean, it was still good. I remember it. I can tell you the whole plot right now, but here and there, and they became like possessive hollows, and they wanted Rukia back, and from there, actually, I kind of almost choked, especially at the ending. They try to clamber back to her and whatnot, and they died in her arms. And she said, "Oh no, I didn't give you names," because Rukia kind of forgot if I didn't already mention that. More or less, it was a really, it was a really heart throbbing movie. It's a movie that was specifically written to make to pull at your heartstrings, and I feel like it did a really good job at it. Like I said, I know like I sound like a super bitch right now, but like I said, it made me choke a bit. Um, but yeah, it was pretty good. Uh, but again, of course, I liked the movie, and hell, I even liked the Dark Rookie. I liked her design. It was a nice spin. It was kind of interesting to see a hollow Rukia because you already seen like a hollow Ichigo, a hollow Visor, it's a hollow Tosin. It's good to see Rukia have the hollow powers and see how it took her on and what traits it took on to her. Pretty much the only holdback I have to say is, although it was good, there just like I said earlier, there was a lot of plot lines in it. From where I'm speaking right now, it made it look really forgettable and whatnot. So that's the only thing I'll be holding back. It's a good movie, but it's also really forgettable. So I'm gonna have to give Fade to Black adequate. And then we go to my least favorite, which is Diamond Dust Rebellion, which is pretty much Toshiro Hitsugai's movie. Uh, it it was great. I liked it. I liked all of them. I pretty much probably said it like fucking 10,000 times already in this video, but I like all of them. But the only but hell, I like Toshiro, but yeah, I like most of the characters. But I just feel like the movie in general, although it was good, it was those type of it's literally that type of movie you just look at for like for the meanwhile for entertainment for battle bloodshed or it. But other than that, it's your typical revenge story, revenge villain, more or less. That's pretty much the movie was more or less was because the main villain was Toshiro's friend, and they had the same Zanpakuto, Hyoden Maru, and the Central 46 was like, there only could be only one Hyoden Maru, and the Stealth Force killed him, and he came back and whatnot, and I mean it's your typical revenge story, revenge ghost story, but it was still a good epic movie. It was still a good movie to look at for action, for entertainment. It's just like Hellverse. It's not as story driven as Fade to Black, and as it wasn't as story driven and engaging as Fade to Black, and Memories of Nobody. I'm forgetting my memory, uh, but that was cringy shit. But it was as story driven as those two films, or as engaging. But it was, uh, but Diamond Dust Rebellion was a good action film. Like but that's pretty much I have to say about it. Like the villain is generic himself. He, is a revengeful Soul Reaper, and he got killed by Central 46 because there can only be one wielder of Hyoden Maru, and he had this little time warping or existence warping jewel that only his sword, that only Hyoden Maru can activate, so he can pretty much get rid of Soul Reapers and create a better existence without them because he thinks they're pieces of shit and they kind of are. kind of don't disagree with him. With all the countless people who rebelled against the Soul Reapers, including Eisen, technically. Well, that's just it was a good action. It was a good action Bleach movie. That's pretty much all I have to say about it. Wasn't bad, wasn't terrible, just a good action movie, and not the type of movie I could look at once. A movie where you look at once and you just keep on looking at it and looking at it and looking at it. It was a good action movie for the moment, and therefore I'm going to have to end by saying Diamond Dust Rebellion is adequate. Not great, not bad, not spectacular, not dreadful. It's just adequate. It's average. It's all right. Uh, well, that's pretty much about it. I like most of the Bleach movies. Most of the Bleach movies they're great. They're really up there with in Memories of Nobody. If I kept muttering about it because I really love that movie. It's literally one of my favorite anime movies of all time. It's literally up there with my favorites like Perfect Blue and whatnot and shit. Yeah, that's about it. Like and subscribe if you like the video and you like these quickie here reviews and whatnot. Give notifications if you want to know anytime the video comes by. Post your comments down in this in the link in the section in the comment section, so I can hear what y'all think and what y'all think about it, what y'all think about this review and whatnot, what y'all think about the movies, what are your favorites, which are least favorite. Do y'all like them? Do y'all hate them? Do y'all despise them? Do y'all loathe them? Do y'all cherish them? Just tell me anything down in that comment section. And like always, I have a Deviant-art account. Yeah, I thought I was going to say the Eye of the Storm is watching you. No, actually, I do have a Deviant-art account. You can check it down in the link description down below. Please, y'all, please look at them. Please tell me what y'all think about them. Please give me your takes, give me your reviews, give me your critiques on my art pieces. Most of them should be photographic, and I'm only starting to get into contour and drawing. Well, always have, but I'm starting to upload more drawings based works on there and whatnot. So just tell me how y'all feel. And like always, the Eye of the Storm is watching.